It started 3 weeks after I moved into the old Wilson property. Everyone in town said the house had been empty for years. Something about a fire, a family that vanished, and a realtor who refused to sell it twice. But I didn't care. I just wanted silence, a place far from the city where I could finally write again. The first day felt peaceful. Dust hung in the air like memory. The floors creaked with age, but there was something oddly comforting about it, like the house was whispering to me, telling me stories I hadn't asked to hear. That first night I couldn't sleep. I heard a sound, faint, deliberate, a long, slow exhale that came behind my bedroom wall. At first, I thought it was the wind, but it came again, rhythmic, like breathing, and every time I held my own breath, it kept going. By the third night, I was sure of it. The house was breathing, not loudly, not enough to terrify me outright, but just enough to make me question if I was ever truly alone. The basement door had always been locked. A thick iron padlock rusted into the handle. I found the key by accident, under the kitchen sink in newspaper from 1978. And that night, I made a mistake I'll never forget. I unlocked the basement door. The moment the metal clicked, the air changed. It grew heavy, warm, like the house was holding its breath. I stepped down, one stair at a time, my flashlight trembling against the walls. Halfway down, I noticed something strange. Handprints, hundreds of them, pressed into the concrete as if made by children. Small, overlapping hands, some smeared like they were reaching up from the floor. At the bottom, there was nothing but a single wooden chair facing the wall. A long rope hung from the ceiling, not tied, just swaying gently. And on the wall was a drawing. A crude crayon sketch of a man standing in front of this very chair. His face was crossed out in black. I felt my chest tighten. When I turned to leave, I heard the sound again, a slow, wet breath, right behind me. I didn't turn around. I ran, and as I slammed the basement door shut, the padlock clicked back into place by itself. That was the night I realized the house didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to stay and listen.
The next morning, I tried to convince myself I'd imagined it. Maybe it was just old pipes or wind trapped in the cracks. But deep down, I knew the truth. That breath wasn't the house settling. It was something inside it. When I woke up, there were footprints in the hallway, small ones, bare, leading from the basement door to my bedroom. They stopped at the edge of my bed and vanished. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in the living room with a flashlight, waiting for any sign of movement. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the walls began to hum, a low vibration, almost like whispering through water. Then came a voice, faint at first, but real enough that it froze my blood. "You shouldn't have opened the door." The words weren't clear, but they were there, crawling through the plaster, slipping between cracks. I pressed my ear to the wall. The whisper grew stronger, almost impatient. "He's not gone. He's still here." I stumbled backward, tripping over the rug. The house groaned, a deep guttural sound that came from its foundation. Then the lights flickered out. Total darkness. I could feel something moving behind the walls. A slow scrape, as if fingers were dragging through the wood, following my every step. I grabbed my phone, turned on the camera light, and pointed it toward the wallpaper. That's when I saw it. A faint outline of a hand pressing out from behind the wall. 5 perfect fingers stretching the paper outward. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor, camera still recording. In the reflection of the shattered screen, I saw something else. A face, pale, hollow, pressed against the wall like it was trapped inside. Its eyes moved. And then the whisper changed. No longer warning, it laughed. I screamed and ran outside. Cold air slammed into my lungs. The night was dead silent, except for one sound, a slow creak. I turned. The front door was wide open. Inside, the house was breathing again. Long, steady inhales, and between each one, a faint echo, the sound of my own name being whispered from the basement. Ethan. That was the first time it spoke to me directly, and the last time I ever tried to ignore it.